Welcome to yet another episode, and I'm super excited. Your host, Meera, and I have here, please say hello to Preethi Guruswami. She is an executive and a leadership coach with an absolute stellar 25 years in the background, working with engineering, leadership across diverse industries. Preethi has been on a mission to help individuals and also help them unleash the potential that they have within on their leadership journey. Specifically, I think she focuses on courage, confidence, and compassion. For Preeti, leadership goes beyond authority. It's about igniting the fire within the inspire and empower others. She believes in building strong relationships and foundations, which include vision, values, voice, and virtue, the four V's. Of course, this is essential, needless to say, for both personal and professional growth. And I've seen her talk as well many a times where she is obviously trying to understand the leadership journeys and the challenges that everybody faces. And she's committed to making it less lonely, which is such a thoughtful approach. We'll definitely click on that as we go through the episode. Also, I think one of the things that I would like to kind of call out for her is the fact that she does a ton of one-on-one coaching. She is also on the Lean In India leadership team where she's helped set it up. She's worn so many hats that it's difficult to kind of pick one and say this is the one that she has been doing for, with all her passion, because every area that you look at, Preeti has been focused on bringing in a lot of passion and her energy. And I think she sparks that inner wisdom, which in every conversation with me, she has done that. So with that, first, let me welcome Preeti you to the episode.
Thank you, Meera. Thank you for having me here. It's such a privilege to be here along with all of you and your team. As you said, I think the journey, I mean, as you were talking about my journey, I was just reflecting while you were speaking. It's been like one of the things that I've always believed is, creating leaders. And I think being engineering leader or being an executive coach, it's a unique opportunity that I think I can bring in the change in people to bring the transformation that is there. I think a lot of it, I believe, that is there within us, and a lot of potential, like you said, right? And I think that's why I've always say that ignite your lamp of your inner wisdom, just to actually, master your transformation and to accelerate your success. I think this is the mantra of every individual. That's what I feel. And I truly believe everybody is a leader. Lean In Women in Tech India community, which is a network and also recognized by Lean In Foundation, is kind of, a part of a child that has been with me from almost a decade right now. And I love that community. It's just not about giving back, but it is also what I learned from there. I've been proud. I founded this long ago, and now it's like, it's in autopilot mode and it runs by itself. But it's the journey of transformation again there, which not only brought in for me as well as a lot of women as well. I think ultimately what I work on is the inner wisdom by looking inside as well as looking outside.
Absolutely. And I love that. That's such a great segue to the first question that I have for you, because you've gone on this transformation journey yourself, where you've gone through this whole episode of being an absolute techie, of being an engineer, to an accomplished coach. Of course, in between, you've worn so many hats, which you just spoke about. But this journey itself is truly inspiring. And a lot of us, I think, go through it during their lifetime, if not once, at least multiple times. The iteration is always there. So can you maybe share some, key moments or realizations from your personal transformation journey that's helped shape your path and also influence your approach in the leader that you are today?
Thanks for that question, Meera. I think, and I keep saying this in most of the conversation that I start with, a lot of what you are is also based on your value that you have developed, right? I'm going to talk a little bit more about just setting the context on before I move into my transformation journey, right? So a lot goes into the value system that you are in. Like one of the things that I learned at the very, very beginning of my life, which obviously, just like anybody else, has been taught by my mom, right? It is all about learning and sharing. And I think she always said, I mean, my grandpa was a teacher, and knowledge was very important element of a family. So she always said this to me, right? How much ever you gain knowledge, how much ever you learn, how much ever you earn, unless and until you don't share your valuable experiences, you can't grow. And right, and we grow when we pull along more people along with us, right? Uh, for very long time, Meera, I mean, my journey has not been very easy for me, right from my education to where it was till I started my engineering role. And for a very long time, because I had to work for own financial needs for my education, and then get into the role as such. So a very long time, I used to call myself as self-made, and I was really wrong on that, right? I mean, I kind of missed out the fact that she had told me on what she had told. And I think all of us go through those changes. And actually, it is not true. We are all of a collective energy, right? The collective energy comes that's what I keep saying. It's just not within us, but also outside us, the environment, the people around us. It's the form of the collective energy that we get. Now, how did I become an engineer? It was an accidental engineer. I always say I didn't aspire to be an engineer. But I think the journey took over a way to become an engineer, right? So engineering side has been, okay, it was moving along with the crowd, I would rather say, right? But also, I was also aware that it would bring me quick financial gains. So, and that was needed at that point of time for me. So I moved into the engineering space. While I didn't do my engineering at the graduation, I did a biotechnology at the graduation, right? So that's my first transformation that you see. And now, why did the transformation happen from the biotechnology to the engineer? It was much harder for me to excel in the biotechnology space, while it was something that I always wanted to do. And the reason I wanted to do in the biotechnology space is to serve people on, by doing research and all of that. So that's something, I thought that would give meaning to me and my life. But unfortunately, it didn't pass through that. So I moved into the engineering space. Now, as I said, I moved through the crowd. I mean, and it's not that I didn't, I mean, I think one of my teacher, mentor, whatever you call them as, had guided me because had seen this potential in me, right? And he came and told me, and I keep calling him as angel of my life. And he told me this, that, you have a very unique potential of problem solving, and you're very good at it. I used to, I used to do, at NIT, basically, I was doing all these engineering, and I used to go to these labs and, try out, because we never had laptops at that time, or computers at that time. So he used to observe me there. It was like, you have a very unique potential of solving the problem, and this is the space that you want to explore. That's why I say it is an accidental step. And I applied through NIT, got placed an intern, then my engineering started, and never looked back and never regret on being there. I think a lot of times we forget that we serve more people, and the transformation happens. And then, all my engineering has been very good. I mean, within the space, I have transformed from a quality engineer to a principal engineer to an engineering leader. But I think everywhere I always found the fact that, I was, even for me to move to the managerial role, I wasn't ready when one of my director came and she said, Preethi, you have the potential in you. And that's how I transformed into the engineering journey. Now I'll pause here and I'll tell you how all these are related to the transformation and the potential within you, right? And how is related to the value that I thought I started at the beginning. As I said, right, when I moved from the engineering, it was also, and that's why I said collective energy. For a very long time when I was there, I was thinking I was self-made, which is not true. Unless the teacher who came and told me, hey, here is what you can see. This is the light. This is the path you have to go, right? If he wouldn't have said, I wouldn't, right? I would have still been worried about why I'm not excelling in the biotech space. I mean, it's very hard, by the way. It's even hard today too, right? But unless and until you have enough family support, financial support, you can move in. Otherwise, I mean, that's my personal experience. Might be people have different experience, right? My personal experience was that. So there was this person who came and showed you the light, the path, right? And you as a person was able to make the transformation and the shift, right? And that shift can happen through reflection. Okay, why is this important for me? What do I need? Right. And I was, of course, today I do a lot of journaling, vision boarding. I have my goals clear. All this is good. At that point of time, I didn't. But even then, I was very clear on what do I want in next 5 years or the next 10 years. Okay. It was not the clear, like the way today I put it on paper and I'm being a coach or, that's being part of my profession. I enable people. So I kind of practice what I share. But at that point also, the one thing was clear is about having a path for forward, right? And that's the transformation you bring within yourself as an engineering leader. And when I was from an individual contributor to the engineering leader, again, it was my director who showed me the path, saying, hey, Preethi, this is your potential. And the moment I became the leader, I think I enjoyed the different transformation that happened within me as a person. Now I made that journey in creating more leaders. Even today, some of my first reportees, they still ping me and tell, and I recently got this message on the Facebook telling that today that person, he had joined as intern and he's somewhere globally in Mexico. And he was like, he joined me as an intern and I was a first time manager at that time, right? So he was like saying, the leadership that you exhibited, right, is the leadership style that I'm carrying today. You've been one of the great leaders. I'm sure of in the last 15 years that it's been like 15 years that I managed him. If that value has gone, the value, and you always exhibit that value. And even being a leader, you end up giving. And being a leader is a thankless job. Of course, you get paid, but there's a lot of unpaid activity that you do being a leader, right? So it's a very thankless job, per se, the number of things that you do. So that's the engineering side of transformation. Of course, as I said, I took various functional roles. And as I was growing in leadership, I think one of the things is like, I was more getting into the collective energy, and the collective energy, of course, comes from the people, right? And one of the things that I realized in that collective energy is that, I can bring true potential. I was mentoring many women, and by then, I had women in tech, and that's why, the value of giving comes in. That's where my knowledge sharing and all of that. And that's the reason the Lean In community was born for me. And I was able to create that community. And then moved into, right, I wanted to be more on, how can I give more to the people? How can I bring potential? And that's where I consciously moved into the journey of the coach. It got me hooked into being a coach, and actually the whole coach training transformed me into a completely different person. Right. The leadership experience was then. And one of the key personal transformation that I feel is also the fact that how do you view the whole system, right? And one of the things I realized is a lot of EQ that I have applied in my leadership, which of course was enlightenment again through one of my coaches. Being privileged leader, you get coach. So EQ is what he taught me, and that's how I moved into EQ. And I use the application of EQ both personally as well as professionally. And I see that has a lot of potential it brings out in people. And these journeys, right? I mean, whether whether you enable an organization or whether it is a systemic change, right? I coach both men and women to work on inclusive leadership. And I'm really passionate about, helping women challenging the status quo and creating a culture for innovation. And this is where I know I bring in the women leadership executive coach so that they could apply their potential in their professional life and their personal growth. As you said, right, it is all about building yourself and creating a future for yourself. I know I took a very long journey explanation of the word transformation, how it has enabled me and how I'm trying to enable a lot of women and men to have this inclusive leadership with as they move on in their career.
That is very, very insightful, Preeti. Thank you so much for sharing your journey of how you've actually transitioned beautifully from an absolute tech space, elevated into leadership roles, and hence started to realize that why be a leader or why fish for a day when you can teach everyone how to fish? So, which is where you're now building a community of leaders and inclusive leaders while at it. So thank you so much for sharing that, Preeti.